Skip was a brilliant engineer, a visionary, but even he struggled to comprehend the scale of the wreckage in front of him. A single human ship. One. It had taken 3 of their 8 supercarriers, and an amazing amount of luck to take it down. Tip to tail, it was more than 15 kilometers long. The crew space barely held 5 pilots. The rest was just engine. He'd been given as much background as the council itself had. He'd seen the battle footage. This abomination was bigger than their largest station, but it had still danced around the battlefield with all the grace of dust in the wind. If his weapon system was fully operational, there'd be no one left to speak of it. The fact that it had done all of this with nothing but short-range PDC was terrifying. In ship-on-ship combat, it was like chasing down a sniper just to gut him with a knife, then repeating it 3 times in a row. Intellectually, he knew the ship was dead. People had always scoured the main cabin, poured all of the frozen corpses out. He knew that, but deep down he couldn't truly believe it. There was a persistent hum that he could still hear emanating out from the craft, the muffled roar of the gravitational anomaly trapped in the engine. He'd been told that he'd been able to hear it the entire time he was within 7 light years of the wreck, even in pure vacuum. It wasn't air making the hum. It was space-time itself, rippling as the caged beast plucked away from inside his jail. He shuddered, imagining those ripples travelling out to pluck away at his ear. That's how they've been doing it, you know. He turned around to look at the man who'd spoken. Illich? He was one of the few survivors of the battle. Everyone in the carriers was dead, and fewer than half the people left stranded in their fighters made it long enough for the rescue craft to arrive. Skip raised an eyebrow. Doing what? Getting around our lines. We've been blocking off all the hyperspace lanes between wormholes, patrolling the infrastructure. We thought they were sneaking around us somehow. Elf nodded towards the wreck. No sneaking, just moving. They don't rip their way through the void like we do. They swim in it. Skip shrugged mutely. He knew. That much had already been given to him. The knowledge was changing the upper brass's tactics, but not by much. It just wasn't possible to guard choke points anymore. There weren't any. The humans had designed their ships so that they could attack at any time, in any place, and leave, without anyone knowing where they went. They built their ships like sharks, and even looking at it, even having it in front of him, he didn't think he'd be able to figure out how to defend against them. He spoke abruptly, cleaning thick silence from the air. You know we're fucked, right? Illich laughed, and laughed, and laughed. When the mirth subsided, he put a warm hand on Skip's shoulder. Aye. But it's good to hear it from you, too.